Are you from West Virginia?
I was born in Tennessee. I grew up in Atlanta. And then I finished my bachelor's degree at Georgia State University in Atlanta while I was living at home. And then I went to Baton Rouge, LSU, for graduate school. I got a master's in food science there. And then I decided that it really wasn't what I wanted. I mean, I was interested in the research, but I didn't like the job opportunities. So I moved across campus to the agronomy department and started studying soils, crops and soils. And that's where I got my PhD. So I'm a backdoor chemist. The chemistry courses I took to qualify for teaching the class were graduate level courses, but I only took them to help me with something else. So I don't have that, I don't have a chemist swagger, so to speak. All right, let's see. We're just missing one person.
Probably got lost.
Sean Patrick Samuel Adams. Does everybody know Sean Adams? No. What, why are you taking this course? That's a good question.
I want to pursue engineering, so I figured I'd need it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm hoping to pursue geology.
Okay.
And possibly climatology, actually.
Okay.
I want to be a physical therapist
Okay. They have a physical therapy program here
at Marshall.
at Marshall.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's like the only two schools in West Virginia that offer.
We got one. We have a physical therapy assistant program at New River. Yeah. But we don't have the bachelor's version. How about you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna need some math, aren't you?
Yeah.
Math and trig. Okay. So you're gonna need organic chemistry, aren't you? I teach that, but it's on the Greenbrier campus of New River. That's a long way to go, I think, probably. So you might have to get it from bona fide organic chemists. Okay, so let's talk about this course. Syllabus. The syllabus is like a contract, if you haven't heard that before. It's like my expectations of you and your expectations of me are contained in that document. So you have things like my office number, my cell phone number, you can contact me anytime. You have my email address. I use my Southern email address in this document, but I have a New River address too. And grading scheme, where is that? I changed the format of this thing a year or two ago. I'm trying to find it. Oh, here it is. Okay. There are 7 exams, like basically chapter exams. I think a couple of times I combined 2 chapters because the topics are so similar. But we have 7 exams worth 70% of the grade, so it's 10% each. Goes into your overall average. And then the laboratory reports, there are 8 of those if we do all of them. Sometimes I have to knock out the last one. Is 30% of your grade. We'll talk about lab reports later. The book, who was it? Did one of you email me about the lab notebook? Yeah. There's a when I agreed to teach this course, they had a textbook and then a custom lab book with exercises in it. But when I got to looking at that thing, it really didn't suit me. So I used a couple of them and I modified them to fit our circumstances. So I used to tell my students to go ahead and buy it just so that we wouldn't copyright infringe. But now I don't care. If you bought it, fine. Take it back and get your money back, as long as you didn't open it. But if you didn't buy it, just don't buy it, because I'm going to give you hard copies for everyone anyway. And the other reason is I teach this same course on the Beckley campus. Actually, it's Raleigh campus officially. And that way I can have the same labs for both sections. And I just box up the lab in what I'm going to need that's not already here, like glassware and stuff is already here. But other things that I need, I box them up and bring them down here for that day. Even equipment. Sometimes I need a ultraviolet visible UV spectrometer for one of our experiments. I'm not sure. Is it this one or next? No, it's not there. No, next semester. So if you come back for the second semester, we'll do chemical kinetics and use a UV visible spectrometer. Come on. Why is that up there? There we go. Okay. Let's see. So I don't wander too much. What did I do with my notes? I've got some notes here. Okay. Is everybody familiar with Brightspace, how to get into Brightspace, how to access the course? Have you had a chance to look at the course? Okay, you have any questions about it? Where to find stuff? Everything I hand out, if I haven't said this before, everything I hand out in class is duplicated in Brightspace. So you can always find a backup copy if you need it. And for those things that you're supposed to turn in on certain dates according to, and like I say, the syllabus is the guide. It gives you all the deadlines and everything. If you see anything that contradicts it in Brightspace, defer to the syllabus. Okay, and just let me know that I've got an error in there and I'll fix it. So we won't have to go into Brightspace and look at that, because you probably know where everything is anyway. But if you have a deadline to turn something in, like a lab report, say lab number 2 is due on 13th September. So if you come to class on 13th September when we're going to do the third lab and the second lab report is due, and you forget, you leave it at home, you can go home and scan it or photograph it and submit it in Brightspace. Okay. You know where to find that? It'll say upload. Look for the upload button. If you can convert it to a PDF file, like if you have to take pictures, convert them all into one PDF, that'd be great. If you can't, then I'll do it. Just submit all the images. But the first formal. One, two, by numbers, the first, second, and third labs are informal reports. What that means is if there's any reporting to be done, it's based upon the hard copy. Like answer questions, fill in things, do whatever the hard copy tells you to do, and submit that. That gives you time to get ready for the formal reports. After the third one, all the reports are formal. And there's a format that we'll discuss later in the lab section. But just to give you a heads up, with due dates. The other thing about this schedule, and the schedule is here and it's duplicated in Brightspace. You'll notice that lecture activities, I've got PowerPoint lecture chapters zoomed all. That's based upon the textbook that I use for my other class at New River. And then I've done a cross-reference. Right next to it is the corresponding chapters in Brown, your textbook. Okay, that way you'll know you can reference the slides. The PowerPoint slides are based upon Zumdahl. But for your reading materials and keeping up with the class, you're going to be using Brown. I thought it was easier to do it this way than to try to get them to change the textbook. And this tells you the chapters that you're going to need in Brown to correspond to what we're covering in class. Most of them are whole chapter corresponding. I will call your attention also to October 4th. October 4th, since my full-time employer is New River, the president there sets days for school conferences and convocations and whatever you want to call them. And we have to be there in person. So on that Friday, October 4th, I won't be here. And I've outlined what you need to do on October 4th. Right? Exam 3 will be in Brightspace. You can take it as a Brightspace test. Right? And then when you finish with that, you will view the lecture video for thermochemistry. My chapter 6, Brown chapter 5. Okay. And then that's it. Just take the exam and view the lecture video for thermochemistry. And that will cover everything that we were going to do on that day. There's no lab on that day, since I won't be here. As the day approaches, I'll remind you. Let's see. I work on a 10-point scale. So if your average is 90 or above, you got an A. And I don't have a final exam. There's not enough time for it. In fact, about a year ago, some bureaucrat decided that it was okay to chop a whole week out of the schedule. I'm sure we're getting the right number of hours to satisfy the Higher Learning Commission and our certification. Give us enough Carnegie hours contact to do that, but it's still, when you cut a week out of my schedule, there goes the final exam. So we're going to have 7 chapter exams, and that's it. No, no, they're just regular exams along the way. Let's see. Contact information is in the back. If you need, and my schedule, this nice color thing right here tells you where I am. The ones that are in red with yellow highlights, office hours, those are the hours that I'm supposed to be available in my office. Now, the first set of office hours on Monday, I Zoom those only. So I'll probably do those from home. And really, it doesn't matter for you guys because you're not going to drive all the way to Beckley just to see me. So if it says office hours, then you should be able to zoom in using the bottom of page 11, that link, newriver.zoom.us/J/number. Okay, that's the one I use for all my office hours. And if you have trouble, you can get me then. Or if you need something quicker, we can set up a private Zoom meeting and I'll use that same link. And we just, whenever you need it. If you need just a quick, you're unsure about some minor item, you can text me and I'll get back to you pretty quick. or you can call my office phone at 929-5449 and leave a message. For some reason, it doesn't work anymore, except for messages. I've talked to IT and they said they were going to fix it, but it ain't fixed yet. So just leave a message. They convert the voice messages to audio files and attach them to an email and send them to me. So I get them really quick.
So since you're zooming this, if we're sick and we can't be here on Friday, it'll be on Zoom, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you, and you can zoom in or just watch the video later, because I don't give you credit for attendance. You know, if I were giving you credit for attendance, then yeah, you'd probably want to zoom in and get credit for attending. But since that's not part of the grading scheme, then whether you're here or not is your choice. Now for labs, you need to be here. Either that or have a very compliant partner to do the lab for you and give you the numbers. Lab partners are good for that, and they're good for safety also. Like, you never work in a lab alone. Okay, you can stop me anytime for questions. I'm sort of stream of consciousness along with my notes. Let's see. I think I'm missing something. Syllabus. Okay, this document right here is a periodic table. And I've outlined in red the symbols that I want you to memorize. If you don't already have them memorized, like if you took chemistry in high school, then maybe you've got them memorized already. There are about 60 of them. And the ones that are blocked off in red are the ones I want you to memorize. This is the chemistry alphabet. You can't build words or compounds without the alphabet. So learn these symbols. You'll have to look up what each one means. That's probably under the front cover of your textbook. And then the best way to memorize them is to make flashcards. Just get 60 3x5 flashcards, symbol on one side, name on the other, and just drill them till you got them. Let's see, PowerPoint slides on. This is an extra credit, 50 ways to name your compound. This will come in chapter 2. So you don't have to deal with this until we cover how to name compounds. And it's got, there are your 50 answers right here. If the question is the formula, let's put the name in there. The question is the name with the formula. Okay. And this one is extra credit also. This is getting to know your periodic table. You're going to know it pretty well because you have to build it using these instructions. But those are extra credit. And these two together, I think, is worth a half an exam so that it's substantial. I was looking for, I'm missing something. And I don't want to say what it is until I found it. So don't get your hopes up. Maybe it's buried in here somewhere. No, it's not here. Okay, I'll bring them next week. Or you can go in Brightspace and find them. They're crossword puzzles. Crossword puzzle for each chapter. And they're crosswords of terms, words that I want you to know. And the crosswords help you do that. And they're extra credit. And if you take all the crossword puzzles and average them together, that's one exam grade. So there's reasons to do those too. But I've got to bring them with me. I'll get them to you next week, or if you're really chomping at the bit, you can find them in Brightspace. Let's see. Oh, If I have to contact the whole class for something, like I've got a revision or a change of some kind, I'll contact you through the Southern email system. So everybody, when you first become a student here, you get an email address, right? You know where to check that. Okay. So it's a good idea not just for me, but for any of your classes, just to check it once a day for messages. And you know where you can send emails through Brightspace? Yeah, go to the class list and check off who you want to send it to, and then hit email, and you can send an email to whoever you want. You can't receive emails there, but you can send them. And that's the way I do. I go in there and send emails because I know that way I don't have to look through the directory and find everybody's name. Okay. So the rest we'll talk about lab when we get to that part. Next, unless you have questions. Okay. Next, I want to go to, let's see. I'm going to do, is it just chapter 1 or 2 today? I'm doing both of them. Look at the schedule. Oh, both chapters, 1 and 2. So I better get you those crosswords by next week. So exam 1 is going to be on chapter 1 and 2. One is, what do we call it? Foundations. This is the lecture. Oh, before I forget, there's also a review document right here. It's subdivided into chapter 1, and then there's chapter 2. This is a good way to focus your attention on key ideas and problem solving, is to use this review document, especially if you're short of time. If you're really, really short of time, then just go through it and make sure you go all the odds or all the evens, because there's some repetition. And then some of my students have told me in the past, they use it like it looks like an exam. They go in, they treat it like an exam, fill it out, and then they take the key, which is in Brightspace. I didn't print the key. They go in and look at the key and grade themselves, and they find out which ones they're weak on, go back and focus on those. And then if you still can't get them, figure out why you got it wrong. That's what this document's for. This is worked problems. So each one of these, I worked out it by hand. And that's what that is. Then if it's still giving you trouble, bring those to our review day. And we'll cover those first before I talk about anything else. Okay. All right, I think I've covered it all now.